Hello.
Hi, are we good?
Yeah, I think you're here. All right, I'm gonna
Okay.
turn it on you. Got you.
It's
Okay.
the little things, right?
Huh? Well,
It's the little things.
yeah, they changed it, right? So like now you got to go through YouTube to get to your Google Hangout, and you got to go through your Gang Hangout. It's a whole thing. So,
For the forewarning, so I'll know.
mhm. So I'm going to make it so that it's only on you and not on me at all.
Well, I have to see you for, I don't want to feel like I'm talking to a.
You can see me. I just can't see you.
Okay.
Give me one moment to figure this bad boy out. Okay.
Take
To
your
you.
time. You're still
Um,
faster than I ever would, so.
no, it's easy. I can teach you how to do this now that I figured it out. So, Lord. Okay, I want to share my screen. I want to talk to you. Control room. Yeah, take my camera off. Okay. Can you see me?
No, I can't.
But I can see you.
I'm going to get a little bit of you in the corner so I don't feel like I'm just talking to the wall. Oh,
You can try.
okay.
You see anything? I think
No.
I think if I put myself in there, then it'll be me on the video.
Oh, really? Okay. I was wondering about that. I was like, so when you record, you're just, when you take video, it's okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have the controls up the top of your screen.
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll send you the directions, but basically when you do one of these, you
Hmm.
have all the camera controls on your screen. The person initiates it, so I
Right.
can control if I only see you or you see me, or if it's like it was bouncing back and forth from my screen for a little bit.
Mhm.
So either way. But all right, I'm only gonna take like 6 minutes of your time if you
Okay.
want to to me.
Sure.
Because it is Friday. So on at the end of the month, I'm gonna be doing the brunch I told you about.
Right.
And we actually got some free advertising from Facebook and Instagram from a
Good.
friend of ours. Yeah. And so basically, we're going to use the month of March to develop what we're doing. But like, you're going to be like the third interview on here. There's a fourth one that's going to be this week. And so we're kind of really pushing ahead to make this kind of work. But
Right.
idea is that the first couple things we're going to do is just kind of highlight reviews of workouts. So
Okay.
um, so I'm gonna turn my camera on while I explain this to you, so you don't talk to the wall, because that's weird. So, anyways, so anyways,
So you
so
feeling me? Okay.
yeah, that was weird. I was gonna go, but I was giving you background, so that felt weird. Anyways, but yeah, so the first things we're gonna do is like we're gonna do workout reviews. And so I can send you a couple that I've done. Like I did goat yoga, we tried P90X and just kind of gave an honest review. And
Mhm.
then there's actual friends of mine that do workout. So a friend of ours is gonna do like a meditation class. The other's gonna like she lost like 150 pounds running, and so she's gonna put up like her running profile, how she did that. She's in like her mid 30s, so it's like not you don't usually hear those life types of changes.
But clearly she was doing more than running. God bless her. Like she
Yeah,
changed
oh
it.
yeah, yeah. But she didn't do like surgery or anything, and she was like morbidly obese, and
Awesome.
yeah, so all that. So it's gonna be, and then we have a section that's gonna be about like buying products, from people that make it. That's gonna be kind of weird because you want to vet it, but also
Yeah.
kind of describing like like how I don't know, like if certain outfits work, if so it's going to be a lot of like consumerism tinge. But the
So
first
with the bioproducts thing, what do you mean like those teas and shakes and all that kind of stuff, or what are you doing with that one?
Yeah, I mean more like locally. So yeah, you do that, don't you? You endorse
Well,
something.
yeah, I'm just wondering how you're going to vet what you use, not challenging what you're doing, but just wondering about you guys' process. How do you vet which ones to actually, or are
Yeah.
you just going to do a bunch of them and say, okay, these kind of make more sense. This stuff sounds shady over here, so we're not going to deal with those. Like, how do you?
Yeah, so like I think initially because we're doing a lot of this DC base, we're gonna be like so like two steps down is a shake spot for me that does natural shakes. So we would just review that. So I'm not getting into medicine. I'm not getting into anything like that. It's just kind of like, I'm not doing tummy teas or anything like that. It's just kind of more like highlighting brown-owned businesses. And if they seem to be like legit, then that's kind of what it is. So I know like there's brown-owned businesses that develop workout clothes. So that would be an endorsement that's innocuous, or like a vegan store down the street that's brown-owned. Like that's kind of the way that we're thinking about it. And if this works out and we can get endorsement, shit, that's a different story. But right now, it's just going to be that kind of stuff. So if you have any recommendations, you know, because I know you were doing shakes or something like that. Was it shakes or was it like a smoothie? You were doing something.
Which is kind of like, and they have like ball. And I also do Beachbody, which they do have a shake based supplement called Shakeology. It has like a lot of protein, but it's more than protein. It also has nutrients and vitamins and stuff in it. So yeah, so the things that do have those kind of products, if you're looking for those in particular. But yeah, I like what you're saying. And those aren't necessarily brown owned either. You know, you have people that work for them that, you know, have their little thing, but yeah, they're more of a nationwide kind of thing versus the local, like you said, the local, you know, smoothie shop or restaurant or something. Mm-hmm.
And I think down the road that could be kind of cool if they paid me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like if you were to endorse
stuff for what y'all gonna pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so if you were to give me the connection and they gave me 30, whatever, I don't know, I would give you a piece of it for the introduction, but that would have to be like a paid endorsement versus just talking tongue in cheek. And then the other thing too, we're gonna do is some like cooking reviews, so like trying stuff and just out of fun, like trying it and stuff. So it's a lot of just kind of fun and
like the HelloFresh and all that stuff. Like, girl, I just did HelloFresh and I did not have a good experience with them, but we can talk about that later.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. What happened with HelloFresh?
Well, I mean, the product came late. It was days later than what they said, and then like you get your email that you're supposed to be able to track it. I wasn't able to track it via UPS. And then when I got it, one of the things was kind of warm. Well, it wasn't warm, but it wasn't as cool as the other two. So I'm like, okay, I'm not even going with that one. And me being a person, I do cook. I know how to cook and I do cook. I'm like, okay, so this isn't for me because the stuff they had you doing, I'm like, y'all making too many dishes for me to have to wash. You know, y'all this could have been the same. And I really tried to, you know, just follow instructions. You know, like I'm not, okay, they say put this in there and this in there. They give me these spices. I'm not adding my stuff, you know, Louisiana thing. I'm not doing that. I'm going to follow these instructions because I really wanted to see how it was. And, you know. But I think it's good salt for someone that doesn't necessarily know how to cook or just wants that extra help, that it may be good for that type of person. But for me, it made too many dishes dirty and it did not taste as good as my food. I'm just saying.
No, I'm with you on that. Like I can't do that kind of stuff. Like I know people that are like, just like when I read a recipe, just like salt and pepper, I'm like, no. Like we got to put something else on it, not just salt and pepper. I need a little bit of garlic powder. I need something else. I need
spices. They had other stuff. But it just was still no. The whole dishwasher, like, this is why I got to use all this stuff. I'm like, I don't use all this stuff when I cook. What is this?
You know, I know they can't get their supply chain figured out. So a lot of the times people will get food and it'll be cold or warm. It won't be too, you know, like the meat will be weird. It'll be kind of old. The vegetables are limp. Like it doesn't make sense. So I'm moving around.
That's my view. That's my fresh.
I'm moving around.
You can use that for later.
I like that. I keep moving around because my signal's weird in this room, so I don't have ants in my pants. I'm just kind of signal's weird. Okay. I'm gonna turn off my side, and it's on you now. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you questions And the perspective is as a doctor, one of the things that I've been following is that a lot of patients, especially women of color, apparently, whether this is true or not true, it's how it's reported. Because I think they often inflate and group in what people of color do when it's not necessarily true. But anyways, I digress. About how they don't know how to speak to the doctor, like how it's difficult for them to know, like, you know, there's power dynamics. They don't know how to be honest. You talked about it a lot. Like people will tell you they don't smoke and then you can smell cigarettes on them. So just kind of like talking about, you know, if I'm a patient, I feel kind of weird talking to a doctor. Like, what do you need to know? How to be assertive? Like, those are the kind of things that I wanted to talk about today.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Okay, get off.
All right. It's going to be you. All right. I'm going to turn on my camera. All right. Blue dot. All right. So can you tell us your name?
Theresa Woodard.
A little bit about your background, Dr. Woodard.
Okay, I am an internal medicine physician. I've been practicing medicine for about 17 years. I also do health consultations, speaking engagements, things of that nature. I have worked as a hospitalist, meaning in the hospital. I've worked in outpatient clinics. I've worked in emergency rooms, in the urgent care facilities. I've also done what's called locum tenens, which is basically traveling healthcare workers, whether they be surgeons, doctors, nurses, or whatever, traveling to different areas. Myself, nationwide, but it is a worldwide thing to basically work in places for a shorter period of time, say if someone's needed for just 3 months or 3 weeks even. So,
What made you become a doctor?
Oh, that's the story in and of itself, girl. We're gonna have to do another interview for that one. But basically, really, so you're gonna probably have to cut this part out. So basically, God told me to do it. I mean, I was an engineer. I was working at a nuclear power plant, you know, loving what I do as a geeky nerd engineer type of person. But I felt that, you know, God was telling me that I needed to work closer with people than I already did. And he just basically made it a way so that it was pretty easy for me to switch careers and get into medicine and get into med school. And it is, you know, I'm glad I listened because this is just my thing. This is innately natural to me, helping people. You know, I enjoy it, you know, teaching people, helping people, healing people. So.
That wasn't so long. You made it seem like it's gonna be.
I shortened out a lot of stuff, but we can talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Another interview, fair enough. Okay. So this blog is about, you know, getting healthy, being healthy mentally and physically for women of color. What are some of the things that frustrate you most about current health trends?
Oh, okay. Well, specifically with women of color or just minorities in general, what frustrates me the most is lack of accountability, patient accountability. As a physician, sometimes sitting on this side of the table, I feel that some patients come in and they just expect you to fix everything and to have the pill that's going to do it, when a lot of things, especially things that affect us, are complex and chronic issues, and they require more than just a simple prescription from the physician. They require, you know, education on the patient's part. They require interaction and changes, you know, because there are things that they can do to stay healthy, as well as just coming to the doctor. There's so much more that deals with your health that should happen before the physician ever sees you. So patient accountability is one. Some people are great at it, but some people not so much. The second thing is just looking not just towards the patients, but looking towards physician. What I find frustrating is that a lot of physicians, especially primary care, meaning family practitioners or internists, have been put in the position where you have to have a large volume in order just to not have to close up shop. You know, to be able to keep a business, you have to see a lot more people than you would even desire to see, which means you don't have as much time with your patients, which means you don't have as much time to give them that education that they need so that they're working with good things when they go home, having to deal with the sickness or the disease that they're dealing with. So that frustrates me, not being able to have the time to give the patients that you feel that they need, in order to be able to do more, on their own, as well as just, coming to the physician and relying all the answers to be given by the doctors. So those are the two major ones I can think of.
What as like a woman of color yourself, are there any health things that you deal with or struggle with or encounter, either like pressure wise or even when you interact as a patient in the health system? Is there anything that frustrates you?
With me being being the patient and not the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
is that okay? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, just female, as a woman of color, sometimes I don't think that we're necessarily heard as often. For instance, if I come in and if I say, I have chest pain, do something to evaluate that chest pain. Don't just put it off on, oh, she's overly dramatic, or she's, has anxiety, because, if you take more time with that person, then it could end up being more than that. It could really be, a serious health related issue. So one of the things is being heard. I don't think that just women in general are often, listened to well enough, but minority women, definitely that's one. Let's see, what else don't I like about going to the doctor? I don't like the wait time. I don't like the wait time. I myself, when I was, I'm recently out of practice, but when I was in practice and when I do practice typical traditional clinic type stuff, I make a point to have the clinic set up in such a way that you're not waiting an hour to see me. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's almost expected at this point. Or if I go to the doctor, then I'm going to be there all day. And that's just not right. And it really doesn't have to be that way. And so one of the things I don't like is having to wait a long time in the waiting room to be seen by my physician. And then I get in there to see the physician, and then you're only spending 7 minutes with me.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, I'm not, there won't be too many repeats. You won't be seeing me that often. I have to go to a better run office than that. And I know a lot of that sometimes falls back on the volume that's required to be seen, but there are processes that you can set up prior to even getting to the doctor to shorten that time period. And to me, it's just unacceptable. If you're waiting for an hour, that's just unacceptable. And that's not how I, enjoy practicing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be at a place where patients expect that that's the way it just has to be, because it really doesn't.
So I liked what you said. I like everything you're saying, but I want to go back to what you said about being heard. Why do you think that happens? Like, why do you think that in the position of a woman, or the adding the women of color on top of that, why do you think there's a struggle to be heard, or there's a propensity to ignore complaints?
I don't know. I've thought about this a little bit before, and it can come a few different ways. It could be because as a physician, I already know that if anyone's coming to the doctor, it's going to be a female. So you're seeing females in the often more so than men in the office. And, as a patient, they're coming because they are indeed concerned about their health. And I think because of the fact that they do go often, sometimes they're, put in categories where they're like, oh, they're just a worry ward, or something like that, or a hypochondriac or something like that, versus the fact that they are really concerned, and they're concerned for a reason. Now, they may not be able to articulate that reason, and it may take some time to figure out why are you, here every month. And that goes back on how maybe that relationship is with that doctor. If you don't feel comfortable speaking to your physician, but you still have an issue, you're going to tend to kind of have repeat visits until you can figure out, how can I say this, or, or when should I say it, type thing. So maybe that has something to do with it. With some people, I tend to see, at least with my patients, I try to be as welcoming as I can with them, but I can tell that sometimes there's a hesitancy to say something to the physician that you really want to. And so I try to pull that out of them. Because if not, they'll be back. They'll be back in a week or 2 weeks, and the problem still will be there. And it may be something that really needs to be, looked at now. So
how would you encourage somebody to like find their voice? Like, what if I'm going into your doctor's office? What do you need me to say to you? What should I not be afraid to say?
Yeah. Oh, that's a big topic, and that can go lots of different ways because it all really depends on the person. As an internist, so seeing patients as a general practitioner, we joke with our psychiatry friends. Yeah, we see more psych patients than you do because basically we do, because in order to get to them, most of the time they have to come to us first.
Mm-hmm.
So and then there's the ones that we don't even send to them that we handle. So all that to say, there are lots of different personalities, and part of being a physician is not just treating and healing them, is trying to figure out how to read your patient and then figure out what they need. For instance, a patient just may be scared, literally scared, what we call the white coat syndrome. They come to the doctor, their pressure's going up, their heart rate's going up. So the last thing that they're doing is thinking about what brought them there in the first place, because they're so nervous, just like if they were going to a dentist or something. So with those type of people, it's probably best to bring someone, whether it's a friend or family member, some type of confidant, that you discuss what your issue is before coming in. If anything, just allowing them to be in the examination room with you and your doctor for a little while to at least get some of those issues across, because you're going to be nervous. And so it's like you're in, flight mode. You're ready to go the whole time you're there anyway. So it's going to be hard for that kind of person to get something accomplished that they really may be dealing with something that they're really concerned with, because they just are so afraid of that type of environment, a hospital, a doctor's office, a dentist. So maybe then bringing someone else in, because I couldn't say even writing something down, because they're going to forget they have it in their pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So for that type of person, maybe bringing someone with them will help relay some of their information, as well as that person hearing what the doctor may say about that information, because they're sitting there and they're like, yeah, and it's just hitting their forehead and falling off. They're not getting any of it. It's not going in. Whereas you may have someone who does have a lot of issues or has specific questions. They can write stuff down. Now, of course, there are the patients that come in with literally 4 and 5 pages worth of stuff, and yes, this question and a single line college rule paper. All of this is not going to get answered on this one visit. But I do encourage patients to write something down if they have a question regarding something with their health, because at least that can start a guide in the conversation. And we may not be able to hit 155 points that you have, written down, but we can hit your top 3, and get this exam done and get your labs done, before the office visit, and at least start that, engagement and conversation about those 3 main things that are, of most important to you right now. So those are 2 ways that I encourage people to do. Write it down, because some people you'll forget. You're just too nervous when you get to that type of environment, and you will forget.
Also, for the people when you get ignored and it's something serious and they kind of put you in a hypochondriac, like, how do you assert back to them, no, I have an issue? How would you encourage somebody to do that?
Well, a true hypochondriac person, I mean, there are certain things that come with that, but outside of that, let's just say that this isn't a hypochondriac, but they're being seen as such. One thing you can do, like if you're going to a new doctor, it's always good to make sure that they have your old records before that visit, because at least they can kind of look through and see the patterns of what's been going on. Maybe they'll pick something up that a different physician didn't pick up. So making sure that the physician, especially if there's someone that's new to you, has your old records that's pertinent to what the issue is. If you're saying I've been coughing for the past 3 months or 4 months and can't get rid of it, but you've had, a CT done at one place, 2 x-rays at another place, and then saw another doctor, bringing all that information together, meaning making sure that that physician has that before that can maybe help knock out a few things and get you guys thinking about, okay, we already know it's not this and this, so maybe it can be this and this, because this hasn't been looked at yet. So that's one thing for that type of person. Go ahead.
And if the doctor refuses to believe you or refuses to take you seriously, what would you encourage them to do?
It is your right as a patient to find another doctor, just like it is my right as a physician to fire you as a patient. So, you're paying for, healthcare services. And if you don't have a doctor that you feel comfortable with or that is hearing you, it is within your right to go and find another one. Whether it's a good reference from a friend, sometimes it's hard, but you can find reviews and stuff online. Sometimes those aren't very accurate. I've read some of those, about myself too. They get people mixed up, same type of name. So you have to be careful with that. But if you have a good friend, someone that you trust, who says that they have a doctor that, that they enjoy, then that's another option, is to find another doctor, or just, be forward enough to say, I don't really think that you're hearing me. I'm really concerned about something. This is what I'm concerned about. What can we do to work on, this concern? Sometimes you just have to try to be forward because, like I said, unfortunately, sometimes physicians are rushed, and if you don't feel that they're hearing you or that they kind of skimmed over the part that you feel as important when moved on to something else, bring them back to it. Well, what about this? I asked about this at the top of the visit. You hadn't really touched on it or commented on it. Let me ask you again. Maybe you didn't hear me when you came in. It's that type of thing.
I love it. Is there anything else you'd want to comment, say, whatever?
Comment, say whatever about what?
Whatever. I don't know. Is there anything that I didn't ask you, or you feel like you'd want to advise a patient, or you just any words of wisdom?
Sure. Since we're speaking of women of color, how to talk to your doctor. Okay. As women of color and as women, when it comes to your own female issues, you have to find somebody that you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable going to your primary care doctor, who may also do stuff like breast exams and pap smears, because, oh my God, he's like 6'2" and weighs 300 pounds, then find you a doctor, find you a gynecologist, or find you an obstetrician that you're comfortable with, whether it be, a female and you feeling more comfortable with the female, or whether it's more of a, mild-mannered, male gentleman that you feel comfortable with, because they were so just make sure that you're with a physician that you're comfortable with, especially when it comes to your own health, especially dealing with things of a female nature. Do not let stuff go or ignore things. It's like the hot flashes or the irregular periods or the breast pain, just because you're embarrassed to talk to that doctor, because those are things that needs to be addressed. And if you can't overcome or find ways to talk to the doctor that you have, then you need to get to a doctor that you do feel comfortable with to get those issues addressed as well, because all of that is still part of your health. And all of that is still part of keeping you, healthy and happy and in a good lifestyle.
I think you gave me some really, really, really good gems, like super good gems to use. Awesome. I'm gonna not be a creep anymore. See how. He's
back.
I appreciate you, Miss Dr. Woodward. I really do, for agreeing to participate in this. So what I'm gonna do is, once I stop this broadcast, it's gonna the whole interview is gonna shoot over to my YouTube, which is private, so no one can find it.
Right.
I can send you the raw footage if you want to have it for whatever, but I will edit it and you can use the footage for whatever you want as well. If you want to put it up on your book. Huh?
Can you send me both?
Yeah, I can send you both. No worries. Whatever you want.
Once you're got the thing that you're gonna put out there, send me that one too.
Yeah, absolutely. You get all of it. All of that is yours. This is your intellectual property. I appreciate you.
No problem.
All right. Go party tonight, please.
That's not going to happen, but that's another story too in and of itself. That's just not.
Oh,
yeah, I'm living a very unhappy life. But anywho,
I'm sorry. I am sorry. Have you had any luck finding a new place?
Actually, I'm about to go see a house now. So I'm gonna go.
Okay, I'll send this stuff to you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.